So into another kind of challenging area, I think, is that I think trans communities oftentimes create sets of hierarchies. And I've been around the trans community for a really long time and have seen different hierarchies, different things be on the top of that hierarchy. I'm curious if you all see those hierarchies within the trans community, trans, non-binary community, pick your label. And if so, what your thoughts are about what those hierarchies are.
I mean, there's definitely a hierarchy. I think the most common hierarchy that I see is that people, the people at the top of the hierarchy are the people that the general public see as the closest to their normal. And that's the top of like cis people's hierarchy. And sometimes, unfortunately, that's the top of trans people's hierarchy too. And that really sucks. Because that leaves people who don't pass as often, who are non-binary, down at the bottom, and that's really shitty. But that's the most common hierarchy I see. And unfortunately, the only way to get out of that is to really try to educate the general public and just not consider people who pass all the time as normal. We're all normal. Yeah. Like that's the hard part, but it's what needs to be done to get this hierarchy out.
I also see a hierarchy between like trans people versus non-binary people, people who have medical stuff and people who don't, people who identify as non-binary and not trans. And it's just all junk, like, just respect each other. So, it bugs me, but...
I'd say there's like a decent amount of what I've heard referred to as like gatekeeping, which is that, and also like passing is when somebody is perceived as cisgender, which is someone who is assigned the gender at birth that they now identify as. Sorry, just backtracking so that I don't want to like lose people with what I'm going to say. So gatekeeping is kind of this idea that like in order to be trans enough, you have to look a certain way or sound a certain way or get XYZ interventions like everyone's been mentioning. And I've seen that from binary communities, from trans people. I've seen that from non-binary communities. I've seen that from cis people. Like it's kind of everywhere, and sometimes it's not at all spoken. It's just like, what pronouns are people willing to use for you today? Like when I wear dresses, I find that people like that, if you say them for me for like months, suddenly forget. And it's like, okay, that's gatekeeping, Oh, you're not passing enough for me as a non-binary person even, for me to like remember or respect what you're using. Or today I feel safer using she for you and you look more normal, so I'm gonna like, put you in that box kind of thing, if that makes sense. I think that's its own hierarchy of like, especially for non-binary people, there is this image of, somebody once described it to me and it was like so good, this white, elfish, like waifish, assigned female at birth person who's like super tiny and in androgynous clothing and is like in a sports, or like, not sports, like a fashion magazine with like a tilted hat and like suspenders, and that's the non-binary person, and that's it. Like that's the only way they look. And it's just not true. Like there's lots of people who can't look that way. I can't look that way. Like just based off of my physical characteristics. Like, and even then, there's like a lot of hierarchy of even like non-binary people. And I mean this is the nicest way to do too. Who look masculine. There's a lot that like is more appreciated or more seen, I'd say, than non-binary people who tend to be feminine, particularly if you're assigned female at birth, I think. And I think the same thing goes for assigned male at birth. Those who present feminine are more accepted as non-binary because it's breaking that traditional idea of what is okay. And so when we go back to, like, if I wear a dress and I'm assigned female at birth, suddenly like, oh, that's very much what already is. But honestly, it still isn't, because I'm still non-binary. I'm not a woman in that moment. I'm still a non-binary person. Anyway, I got off on like a...
No, I think that really connected with me, particularly because I had a lot of trouble today picking what to wear to this panel.
Me too.
So I honestly went with what people would expect, which is to be androgynous. I'm wearing an outfit that I'm comfortable with. That's one of my more androgynous outfits. But at first I tried on like a feminine look, and And I was like, well, then I don't want to, like, I don't want people to assume I'm a woman because of like what I'm wearing, even though we know this is a non-binary panel, like it still happens. And I didn't want to just masculine be perceived to be like a male man individual, and I was like, I'll go in the middle, I guess. I was just like, I want to pass as non-binary, and unfortunately that's like white, assigned female at birth, androgynous. Look, like that's what passing as non-binary tends to be, and it sucks, but it's life. Like, and it goes along with the hierarchy like you were talking about.
And I want to just add that I think that non-binary people, and this could be a generalization that's totally off, spend way more time picking out their clothes, or like trans people in general, like we spend so much time choosing what we want to wear.